Assalamu alaikum. So today we are going to talk about the dreaded morning routine. Now, I've talked about the morning routine on my podcast and YouTube, but here's the thing. Today's going to be a little different. It's not going to be like, what's my routine? How to make a great routine? Let's get real. Let's get real, ladies, and talk about the common barriers to the morning routine actually working out. Let's talk about what we're all suffering from right now. Let's start talking about like how amazing our routine is going to be. Let's talk about how unamazing it truly is and how we need help to make it more amazing. I think that would be more fruitful, right? Let's talk about what's really happening with us. Let's get going. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Mindful Muslimah Speaks podcast. Okay, so I have a ton of advice today. And I thought I'd make this like a podcast, probably / video. And at the end of the day, give women some advice of exactly what they could do if they're struggling with a morning routine. Because if you're a mom, if you're a uni student, if you're, a revert that's trying to do the Muslim thing and wake up and pray now when they never had to do that before, like whatever your situation is, there's these common barriers that we kind of all have. Now, we have a mentorship program inside of Thrive Muslimah where we actually have this as part of one of our lessons because we noticed over the years that women were struggling with it. We have a morning routine barriers lesson and an evening routine barriers because even that's hard for women. Like let's just talk about what's hard. Let's not always talk about what feels really nice and looks pretty. So at the end of the day, what are the things that we're most suffering with women, and what are some suggestions on how we could fix those, right? So alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Let's talk about a couple of those. Like I have a couple written down here. Let's talk about, how about poor eating habits? So here's the thing. A lot of us struggle from lack of energy. We're just exhausted. Now, that could be for a million reasons. I'm not even going to go there 100% yet. I'm just going to talk about the food aspect of that because it does play quite a big role. So recently, I was traveling abroad and I felt, like horrible. Now, the reason I felt horrible is because I had to go handle some family things. And when I was doing that, I had to sit for long periods of time, whether it was like in a plane or a train or a car. And then even we were back in the hotel because like I said, there are people in my family that weren't feeling well. I had to lay and sit with them and care for them. And it was a lot of like sitting and laying, And then of course you have to eat and then things aren't always at your disposal, the best things to eat and everything like that. So you just get what you can, you do what you can. And I came back from that trip feeling so physically yuck. I can't explain to you. The lethargic nature that I had was just like, ugh. And I could just feel how gross my body felt, and it made me so tired. So part of eating, first of all, is to make the connection between being tired and what we're eating. Sometimes we can't help it, right? Like I was in that crazy trip, like there was nothing I could do about it. I had to deal with it. And so I could easily take that and be like, oh, woe is me. My life is horrible. Like, what can I do? That's why I feel and look like this. But that's not who I am. I know everything is only for a time. It's only for a season, right? So I put in my mind like, okay, when I get back, this is what I'm going to do. Now, a lot of people do that. On Monday, I'm going to start. But I really, really do. I'm dead serious. But here's the thing. I knew when I got home, and no one has shopped for about a week and a half, because some of my family was left behind, and my husband with the kids. And, Ya Rab, he is so beautiful. He did such a great job with the kids. I honestly, hats off to him. But, he's still as great as he is, wasn't going to go do intense shopping and deep cleaning. He did great. The house was clean when I came home. The kids were bathed. The laundry was done, yada, yada. It was great. But at the end of the day, that whole healthy thing that I knew I needed to do, that detox, take care of myself, wasn't done. So I had to say to myself, and this is my first piece of advice to you, which is what's going to make me successful? I could get off that plane, be tired, wake up the next day, be tired, and then never really get into that routine to change. Or I could set myself up. You know what I did? I jumped right onto Instacart, as much as I don't love Instacart that much. It's a lot of fees. If you're not in the US or in a place where there's an Instacart, it's basically just grocery shopping online. And so I did it. I was like, you know what? I know it's going to make the difference for me jumping and joy. So I went there. I think I did a Costco online cart. Another thing I hate to do, again, the fees. And the prices are all jacked up because you're shopping online. We know this. But do I do this regularly? No. So who cares? If it means me jumping in and getting it done because I know I need that, then that's what I'm going to do. Guess what? Within me getting home 4 hours, there's a whole bunch of fresh greens and groceries. So I had it already and I jumped and I dove right into exactly what I said I was going to do because I took away the friction. So the first thing I want to say is to the women, sometimes you don't do the great morning routine because all during the day and in the night and all day long, you're eating the wrong food. And that's going to make you tired. When you're tired, you're unmotivated, you're not going to do things. That's just totally normal. But you have to break out of it because no one's going to do that but you. So you have to ask yourself, where's the friction? Where's the thing that's stopping me from changing that routine? For me, it was like, oh, I'm going to have to go shopping. Then I'm going to have to like prep some meals. You know what I did on the way back on the plane? I think I paid for Wi-Fi like 1 gigabyte, and I sat there and I just did all the recipes that I was going to cook for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And you guys know I have like a whole meal planning thing where I actually have them done, but I think I wanted to do something different than usual. But normally I have all my meals planned for every season. We actually have a free PDF, a downloadable, like a meal planner. I prep once and done. I don't meal prep because meal prep is too much work. I want things to be prepped, but with the littlest work possible. There's a saying, work smarter, not harder. I follow that to the T. So if you guys want, that's on the website and you can totally download that. It's how I meal prep all the time. It's on www.mindful-muslimah.com. And so that's there. But I wanted to do something a little special, a little different. I wanted to do like this weird detoxification type thing. So I did it. Oh my goodness. Within just a couple days of that, I saw pounds coming off, shedding. And it was just, and for those of you, I know you're going to be like, what did you do? I mostly cut out sugar and any types of carbs that were processed. And I don't even eat processed food, but I mean like even anything that looked remotely not like high fiber grain nuts. Like the stuff you probably wouldn't want to eat as bread. You want to have like a nice brioche or a fluffy bread. It's like I had to cut all that out as much as I love those things. And I did more of a high intensity like greens. And I did fats and stuff, and I did, good fish and stuff like that, but mostly just something like that. And I said, I'm just going to do it for 3 to 4 weeks. Oh my goodness, I felt absolutely amazing. So what we eat transfers into the lethargic nature of ourselves. So reduce the friction, ask yourself, what is the thing stopping me? And go handle that. It's usually the process of getting the healthy food to our plate. It's usually like, oh my gosh, I have to go shopping, and the kids. I knew the kids were going to stop me because it was going to be hard for me. I was going to be jet lagged. I was going to have to get in the car with my kids, and they haven't seen me for a while, so I'm sure they're not on the same rules we always have. So I knew they were going to fight in the car. See, I already thought all that. I was like, I already know what's going to happen. So I said, skip that. Instacart it is. And so like that was my solution. What's your solution? So that's just one. And mind you, I have about like 8 or 9 sitting in front of me, and I can't get to all of them, but let me just think of another one. Another one, I'm going to do it because it's the new year type of thing. We're in that still beginning of the year thing, which is the lack of movement. So here's the thing. My husband and I, we go to the gym religiously. 4 to 5 times a week, we do it together. We are workout buddies. Sometimes we're working inside, working out outside. Whatever we do it together. When we both get our schedules messed up, or it's like really bad weather, or something's happening with the kids, and we don't get to go to the gym, we get so lazy and tired, and we look at each other. It's the joke that we have for the past eons that we're married, and we're just like, yeah. We haven't been to the gym for a while. You feeling it? Because I'm feeling it. Yeah, I'm feeling it. So my point is, when you don't have your body in motion or moving at all as much as you should, then it's really hard to have high energy and motivation. So what I'm basically doing with these first 2 here is I'm just talking about human biology. Like let's just really be real about the biology factor. You can't just keep living on coffee and like chips and Cheetos and whatever it is you're eating, and like quick meals from Uber Eats every 5 minutes, or like DoorDash. Like that stuff will make you fat and sick and tired. So if that's the life you're living, then you now know why your morning routine is probably sabotage. So we got to cut the cord from where it begins, which it might be the way that we're buying food, it might be the way that we're consuming food, and maybe our lack of movement and exercise. So here is another tip. If you're going to do healthy eating, combine it with food. And you're like, who would have thought like how much I eat or how well I eat has anything to do with the routine that has to do with productivity? Well, of course it does, because your body needs fuel, and that fuel has to be healthy fuel and push you. And also it's sending waves to your brain. If you're having high nutrients versus things that will slow you down and saturated fats, it's not even going to make you think sharp. It makes a huge difference. I beg you to try it out. It really does. All right, so let's dive into too much screen time. Let's just do this. Maybe I'll do one more after this. All right. So the thing with too much screen time is this. People don't know there's so much research around your phone, and like my phone is not in here right now. It's over there, my timer. But like blue lights, and like, there's so much research like when you put a blue light near your face, which is obviously what comes from the phone, and then you try to go to sleep, it takes you so much longer to go to sleep. And then what happens then, right? So if you're like, I'm talking about people who like to use their phone late at night, then you have insomnia, right? And what happens when you have insomnia? Because you can't sleep because of your blue light, because your phone that you're looking at when you should have been sleeping already. Well, then you're tired. And when you're tired, then what happens? You wake up to a really bad day because usually you're going to miss Fajr or you're going to feel groggy and then your routine's going to get thrown off like from the jump. My son, and this is not related to screen time, it's related to the way I talk to my kids. I'll just give you a heads up. I'm really honest with my kids. I'm one of those parents that like probably told my kids so much honesty that it kind of shoots me in the foot sometimes because they're such strong thinkers and I'm like, be a kid for a minute. They're like, we can't. You trained us otherwise. So here's an example. My son was really, really in a bad mood the other day because I woke him up. He does like a hifz program where he memorizes Quran. We have to get up and out the house 6 something in the morning to take him to the sheikh. I signed up for this. He signed up for this. He said he wanted to do it. We all wanted to do it as a family, and we're really proud of him. But here's the thing. We have a rule where at night, before he goes to bed, he's got to get out his jilbab, and he's got to get out his Quran and his kufi, and he's got to practice his lesson. We have to have his lunch prepped, his bag by the door. And when he does, that's great. He's got to have his clothes set out. And it takes but 5 minutes because we have a routine that we do the laundry. And so his stuff is already hung. It's a matter of like taking it from the closet, putting it on the thing, and then, just like having it there. So he gets up and grabs and go, right? That's just makes perfect sense. So he decided that night to stay up, and we don't give our kids screens. There's no screens in his room of any kind, but I'm likening this to screen time, where he decided I'm going to stay up and I'm going to play with something or I'm going to draw. He just kept himself up after we had put him to bed. And my son is about 11 years old. So this is a choice he made, right? It was a total choice. So he could have went to sleep. He didn't. I went to wake up in the morning. And I usually check him if he has all his stuff. But, sometimes I like to treat him like a man. Like, you were supposed to get your stuff. Did you get your stuff? I go in his room. Stuff isn't out. He is like a brick trying to wake him up and get him out the bed. I'm like, and then the first thing he says to me is, I can't go. I said to him, why? What? Can't go what? He says, I can't go to school. I can't go to the sheikh. I can't do it. I said, why? He says, it's a bad day. I'm tired. And then we talked about why he's tired. And I said, well, that was a choice. You chose to stay up. The sheikh didn't make that choice. And that's not fair. You don't just, ghost the sheikh, just not show up because you didn't feel like I'm teaching my kids real life skills, akhlaq, character. Like you get up and you do what you're supposed to do. You didn't give him enough time. This is it. We got to be there in 30, 40 minutes. You're not cutting out. You're tired, get up. Then he didn't have his clothes. Then he couldn't find his bag. Then he's like, oh my gosh, my pencil. And he was running around and he was so stressed out. Then he started to almost stress me out because I was like running late and I'm the mom, right? I'm supposed to drop off my kid like a good Muslim mom on time to the sheikh, like what do I look like now when my kid isn't ready? But I'm also low-key trying to teach him a lesson. I'm trying to teach him a lesson like, that's the consequence of you setting yourself up for a bad morning. You decided to stay up late. You didn't have your stuff. You could have used that time, even if you were going to stay up late, you could at least use that time to prep yourself for the morning. But instead, you chose to do something that you were going to relax and waste time and then wake up and curse the day. He was not cursing like real cursing, but he was like, oh, this day, it's horrible. Oh, I can't do this. This day is not going to be good. I said, the day didn't do anything to you. Allah made the day. The sun came up. Nobody did anything to you, Yahi. You did it to yourself. That's the thing for us, and I want women to hear this. Stop cursing the day. Oh, this day is bad. No, the day is not bad. Did you set yourself for the day wrong? Did I set myself up wrong? Let's be fair, And so, subhanAllah, I liken this to the screen time where he made a choice to stay up, which threw off everything, and he didn't use his time to set up anything before, so therefore, he had a horrible day. But then here's another thing I teach my kids. I always pull them to the side and I say, look me in the eye. I said, can you restart your day? And he said, yes, I can restart my day anytime I want. I said, do you want to restart your day right now? Because by then it was like 12 o'clock or something when I had to go back and pick him up from the sheikh because I homeschool. And I do the rest at home. And he's like, yeah, can I restart? And we do this thing where we take our hand, we put it over our face, and we go, blah, 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 and he does this. And then he shook it off. And he said, I'm going to run up the stairs, and I'm going to come back down like it's morning time. You ready? I said, I'm ready. Go ahead, go. And then he goes up and he comes down. He's like, good morning, you mommy. And then you give hugs and kisses. And I said, wow, today's going to be a great day, isn't it? Look how beautiful. Alhamdulillah, the weather's beautiful. Allah gave us time to do this and this and this. Let's go. He said, yeah, alhamdulillah, bismillah. And that was it. Because I teach my kids there is no such thing as a bad day. That's just nonsense. The day can be good anytime you want. You just need to restart. And people say like, oh, no, it can't because that's just your limited thinking. So I teach my kids to have a growth mindset and to be thinkers. And I start that from a young age. Some people are going to ask me, when do I start that? I start that from like 5 years old, 4 years old. Why not? You know, even if they don't understand everything when we're talking about everything else anyway, but at least I make it like it's a habit. It's a lifestyle that we have. And so the last thing I'll say for you guys as a suggestion is the lack of connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So another common barrier to morning routines is that we don't really have a solid one where we make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the shining star of the morning routine. We're all into like skincare, got to get my hydration in, got to get my stretching, my morning run. Like, okay, where's your Quran? Where's your adhkar? Where's your dua? So memorizing Quran. People who start with Quran, it soothes your heart. There's something Rasulullah says when you recite Quran, it's washing your heart. It's removing sins. It's taking bad feelings away. Why would we want to not have that? That's just absolutely brilliant. Why would we not actually include that as much as we should or as consistently as we should? It's our own self-sabotage. So I have a ton more. In order to thrive, you just have to be mindful about what's going right and wrong about your routine. Like I said, we do this in our mentorship program inside of Thrive Muslimah. So that's something you're always welcome to be inside. It's like it's worth a couple $100, but all the women inside of Thrive get it 100% free. We just do it for them. It's like a 6-week program. We had level 1, then we have level 2 now. You can move up. And the other thing is, we have the Life Balance course where we go through all of this and we help you as well. So like the tools are there if you need, but the biggest thing I want you to take away and understand is that there is a way to fix your routine, but only you can fix it. So think about those common barriers, like is it the way you're eating, is it the way whatever, and then remove that friction, dive on in and fix that. If you want to talk to me, you can DM me anytime. We have on Instagram, I do free 15-minute calls. I also have 45-minute calls, like whatever you want, but the help is there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you and give us productive mornings so we can have amazing days and please the Creator. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. See you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.